page 98. As I understand by report, I am much charged with starving of the colony. I did always give every man his allowance faithfully, both of corn, oil, aquavitae, etc., as was by the council proportioned. Edward Maria Wingfield, A Discourse of Virginia. Now, just because someone writes it doesn't necessarily mean it's true.
No.
No, we see as example here. Did he give everyone their fair share?
No.
No, right? And have we discovered whether Sam has divulged a secret?
Yes.
Well, because he asked to speak with in private, right? And that shows that he has made his decision. Master Wingfield is no longer our president. He is under arrest, locked up on the Discovery, and his private store of wine, dried beef, eggs, oatmeal, and other good food has been shared equally among all of us. He says he was keeping it to dole out to us if we ran out of provisions, but that didn't keep the council from voting him down. We now have Captain Radcliffe as our president. Captain Smith says we have gone from the frying pan into the fire. Boys and girls, that's an idiom. Did they really go from a frying pan into a fire?
No.
No, it's an idiom. It's figurative language that helps us understand they went from one bad situation to
even worse.
Even worse.
yeah, another critical or even worse situation. So it's not, it didn't get much better with a new leader.
I've heard stuff like that a lot.
Reverend Hunt is looking much better. Many of us gave him our share of eggs and meat, and so he has been eating well for days. We have had rain too, great drenching storms of it. We have caught it in buckets and barrels to drink, and the river is no longer so salty. The rainwater tastes so sweet. I would think it had honey in it. Reverend Hunt has color in his cheeks again, and he is able to lead Sunday services for the first time in many weeks. Captain Smith has taken all of the credit for discovering Master Wingfield's stash, and for that I am grateful. Henry has no idea it was I who told, and so he has no compulsion to kill me. That was pretty cool of Captain Smith, right? What do you think the synonym for compulsion is? He has no reason, more than reason. He has no
Idea.
no
Motive.
yeah, not as much as a motive or a desire to kill him, because he doesn't know that it was Sam that told, right?
Yeah.
He has no desire to kill me. That's always a relief that someone doesn't have a compulsion to kill you. Right in the middle of page 99, please. Richard is much better now too. I am relieved. I decide to take the first step toward becoming his friend. Richard, you want to see my sword? I ask one day when he is up and looking stronger. I could show you some of what Captain Smith is teaching me. Richard looks at me warily, as if he thinks this could be a trick. I just thought you might be interested, I say quietly. I look down, avoiding his eyes. There is a silence between us, and then Richard says, "Are you ready to fight a duel yet?" I cringe. Is he challenging me to a duel? But when I look up, he is grinning. "Not yet," I tell him, "but Captain Smith says I am learning well. Come on, I'll show you a few things." So right now, what is the tone, boys and girls?
Compassionate.
Maybe compassionate, maybe playful, maybe joyful even. So it's light, it's kind of relaxed. There's not this intensity that's been going on in the previous chapters with starvation. Okay, where did I leave off? Top 100. Okay, I let Richard try on my armor, and I have him fasten the belt around his waist so he can feel the weight of the sword too. He pulls the sword out of his sheath and he holds it in both hands. I tell him about what Captain Smith is teaching me, the footwork and the sword work, and suddenly Richard closes his eyes. and a look of pure sadness comes across his face. Richard, what is it? Are you going to faint? I never should have had him try on heavy armor when he is barely well. He shakes his head. James, if... He stops himself to keep from crying. I know, I say. I've thought about it 100 times. If only James had armor, he might still be alive. Richard nods, grateful that I have said what he is thinking. And then a thought strikes me. Richard, you need armor. So many have died, there must be extra. Let's go and talk to Captain Smith. Together we go to Captain Smith to ask. He takes a good look at Richard. He is a couple of inches shorter than I am and somewhat wider. Captain Smith scratches his beard thinking, oh, no one as slight as Master Clubble has died, but we will cut some armor down to fit you. The blacksmith is put to work to remake a chest plate. The first time Richard stands wearing his armor, he grins at me. I know I am on my way to making a friend. Captain Smith decides that now that some of us are well, every able-bodied man must be skilled at using a musket. He gathers the men who are new to weapons and the commoners and the servants and such to begin their training. He shows us how to keep the slow match burning by blowing the ash off of it every few minutes, and how to use it to ignite the gunpowder. We learn each step. Prime the pan, charge the piece with powder, put in the musket ball, ram down the charge, cock the match. We use a big tree with a mark on it as a target. The first time I fire the musket, the kick nearly throws me into the ground. I miss the tree completely, but so do most of the others. And by the end of our training session, my ears are ringing, my arms are sore, and I smell like gunpowder. But I have hit the mark 3 times. Captain Smith says we will continue to train each week until the tree is full of musket shot.
Oh.
The extra rations from Master Wingfield do not last long, and soon we are back to wormy grains. I wonder why the natives do not mount another raid if they really want us gone. There are hardly 50 of us left, and those that are left are half-starved and weak. Maybe they are just letting starvation finish us off, I think. Outside the fort, there is plenty of food, fish, oysters, rabbits, berries. But there are also Indians hiding behind the trees. No one has the courage to venture out any farther than is necessary to dig the graves for our dead. And then one day I hear the words I have been dreading. Savages, arm yourselves! We are under attack. I hear the scraping of metal as the guards load the cannons. This is it, I think. They've been watching. They've been waiting, maybe even counting our burials. And they know we have only a few men left. They've come to wipe out our colony. Richard and I hurry to put on our armor and ready our muskets. Soon we hear shouts from outside our fort. But these are not the shrill battle cries I have expected at any moment. These are calls of Wingapo. Richard and I run to the front gates of the fort. The gates have been thrown wide open. The natives, men, women, and children are all walking in. They look around curiously at our rotting tents and our big iron pot hanging over the cook fire. They all carry baskets. When I see what is in the baskets, I gasp. They are filled with bread, and corn, and fish, and meat, and squash, and berries. The smell of the fresh bread makes me nearly faint with hunger. One of our soldiers tries to grab a chunk of meat right out of the basket, but the Indian man holding it puts up his hand abruptly to stop him. Captain Smith comes forward. He speaks Algonquin with our visitors, and I listen closely, trying to understand what they are saying. They are here to trade. They will give us food from their recent harvest in exchange for our copper, are hatchets, swords, and muskets. Captain Smith nods agreeably. I wonder if he will actually give them swords and muskets. The Virginia Company has given us strict orders never to let the Indians get their hands on our weapons. Captain Smith translates for our leaders. Our visitors say that within the Powhatan Empire, there are tribes who are our friends and some who are our enemies. Our enemies are the tribes closest to us because they feel we are encroaching on their land. Encroaching. That's a big word. Encroach is the root word there. Encroach. Does anyone want to give an idea for a synonym? Encroaching on our land. Encroaching. Daniel.
Maybe it's like slowly approaching it.
Slowly approaching. Good guess. Lakin.
Settling.
Settling. Matthew.
Trespassing.
Trespassing. Savannah.
Invading.
Invading. That's about as close as you're going to get. What do you think? Very good. You're all really warm, but I think Savannah hit the nail on the head. Caleb, what do you think?
Like trespassing.
Trespassing, invading are all excellent synonyms. Thank you for that. They are encroaching on our land. They are the Paspaka, whose land we are on. Now, do you think I pronounced that right? Probably not. It's a proper noun, so does it impact our comprehension? No biggie if I butchered that word. Whose land we are on it. Also, the Weanock and the Appantuck, yeah. The Kissiak and the Q. I'm just going to call that one Q because I have no idea how to pronounce it. Our friends are the A and the P and the M and the Y. Those who are our friends will intercede for us with our enemies. Intercede, so act on our behalf. Come to protect us. They will try to convince them that we are no threat, that we are only using a small piece of land, and we are not making war with them. They also tell us that we should cut down the tall grass near our fort, because that is where our enemies are hiding when they shoot at us. I'm on the bottom page 103. Stay with me, please. Andrew, stay with me, please. Bottom page 103. Captain Smith tells them we are thankful for their message and for their peacekeeping efforts. And then he invites them to come and sit with us in our common eating area around our fire pit. We all watch hungrily as they negotiate the trading. Captain Smith drives a hard bargain. He will not give away a